Cool. How's it going, everybody? Good morning. David Harrison, Integrated National Director. Been coaching for about a little over 5 years. Justin's my coach. When we started this program, it was like we didn't have a structure. It was kind of like eat the food, lose the weight, and that was something that been changed over time because success leaves clues, and that's what's really cool is the structure's already been written for all of us. So as long as we plug into it and plug our clients into it, we're all going to have success. Um, and help people transform, into what they want to be. I think we were all just kind of born as perfect beings, and just over the years, going through certain things, like there's a lot of stuff that's just thrown on us, stuff that's not supposed to be there. And our job as coaches, with clients, is to kind of poke that layer of garbage that needs to come off of our people that we're trying to help transform, and just kind of awaken that potential in them. Go ahead, Jay. You want to pull that up?
Yeah, so I'm Justin Avini, and I'm what Optavia calls an Integrated Global Director. I'm really excited. Like Dave said, this is one of our topics that's really important. And I had mentioned before I started hitting the record button is, this is where we can either help somebody seek growth or we can really hinder them in certain areas. And so supporting a client is one of the most important and crucial things to make somebody successful, and also see what potentially is there for them. Maybe if there's other areas of this program / business that can really help them out. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, Dave. You can kind of rock and roll with your stuff, brother. Can you guys see this okay?
No, it's just the title bar.
You guys see the checklist? Interesting. All right. Hold up. Gotta love these laptops. Okay, what about now?
There we go. Yeah.
All right, solid. All right, brother, take it away.
All right. So one of the first things, is scheduling that call so we can really, start a conversation and ask a lot of questions to where we're really getting to know this person and meeting them on their level. They can go from anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes. It kind of just depends on the call. And I think that's one of the coolest things is because the more questions we ask, the more things we're going to hear. Not necessarily answers, but just more areas that maybe we can help them or that they want change, even though they don't know it yet. The health assessment, we went over that last week, kind of how to fill that out and how the cadence of the call will kind of go all over the place. And I think, the health assessment is a good guideline to, take our notes when they start just blabbing at the mouth and telling you all the answers that you need to hear. And filling in those blanks. And then the health assessment is really cool because like we went over last week, it's going to have everything listed as far as their challenges, medical conditions, allergies, what they want to do, what they need to do, what their bad habits are now. And then that's going to go in your folder, right? So you guys can keep that and keep a record of who they are, what they are, and the check-in dates on there too, that we went over, where you can keep notes of that client, how your conversations are going throughout their process. So, when they're ready and they say yes, I think it's super important just to get their information, get their order in, make sure we're getting the books too. That's a huge thing. That can burn us. You know what I mean? Because that can come back from other coaches talking to clients that maybe you've talked to, and maybe you weren't going to get on the books and the other coach was. I mean, this is just all stuff that we've seen happen, and that's why there's a structure on how we do this, because the books are part of the program. It's one of the main components. And now with the life book and stuff too, Dr. A told us like, hey, the work's done, the coaching's there, the structure's there for them to change. It's just plugging them into all the resources and the support that we have to make things happen. Once we get their stuff, there are some texts too that we do in between this. So we're going to update this checklist to kind of add some of the texting in there. So, right after we're getting their kit ordered, we're getting their account, we're the ones doing their order for them. You know, we don't want to send them our site because, you know, if we start coaching them that way, that's exactly how they're going to coach. So getting their stuff dialed in, you know, sending out the text right when they say yes. You know, your program's ordered, it's on its way. It's got a cool video in there from Dr. Anderson. Then we're moving on to getting them involved in the Optavia 30. You know, more support, plugging them in just so they know that a lot of this stuff is there. You know, some clients don't need it, but you know, we're going to give them all of this, all the structure, all the tools that they can use with program, and see where they come and see where they need it at. And I think that's really cool. If you guys notice that, you know, offering them stuff or teaching them how to fish and then start seeing them fish for themselves and Journey to Health, it's kind of the same thing too with information on their journey. I remember when I started, I would ask Justin like just some random questions, and he'd be like, "That's a good question, Dave. I think if you look in your quick start guide on page 20," and I'd be like, "Oh man, remember that, Justin?" And it would kind of irk me. But you know what? Look where I'm at now. And I think one of the quickest ways to learn is to teach it. So I like to share that with my clients as well. You know, once we add them to the Facebook group and plug them in there, and that's when that community really starts to love on them, and they really get kind of a glimpse of what Optavia is really all about. And that's just, I mean, that's amazing right there, because a lot of people don't have community. So remember, like, our clients are coming from all different angles. We're coming from, some of us are challenged with our health. Some of us are challenged with our community, you know, our healthy surroundings. Maybe we don't have that right now. With finances, you know, so everyone's coming from different places, and we're going to hear little things when we're having conversations with them and asking questions of what they really need and what they really want, and where they need to transform. You know, once we start sending them the video, you know, the night before call, you know, there's even text too. Like, you guys, the texting stuff is so important. The texting, the daily support. If you guys look in there, there's a day after they order their program. You know, sometimes before their kit arrives, there's text that you're sending them, and it's talking about, hey, check this out. You know, there's Optavia answers. It starts plugging them into all the resources that are available for them already. The night before call, oh man, I think, do you guys love the night before calls? That's like one of the coolest things, because that's where they have their stuff. They're excited. You know, some people get a little overwhelmed. Oh, look at this box. And, you know, it's really like, hey, that's just a tool. Those are just the feelings. Like, don't worry about that stuff. You know, we're going to focus on your habits. We're going to focus on getting you to feel better. Because, I mean, honestly, that's where we all start. We all start kind of feeling like crap when we come to this program. So that night before call is so awesome. You know, we're going over a lot of stuff. We're going over, you know, eating right when they wake up. We're going over medications. We're going over what plan they're on. You know, what plan they're on, what they're doing, what they need to do, what things they need to avoid, as far as if they're, you know, let's say they're on you know, diabetic, and they need to avoid the soy or the thyroid medication, you know, whatever it is. We go over all that stuff the night before. You know, sometimes we'll have another coach hop in too and already start that support structure, which is really cool, because we're already layering on support and opening up that community to them in the beginning. Hold on one sec, guys. Yeah. Okay, so there is the night before video too. You know, we're sending them that video, and then going over that with them. I like to ask them, you know, what are some things that you liked about the video? Because, you know, if we just start sending text out and doing stuff, they're not always going to watch it. So always ask, like, what did you think about that? You know, what were some of the things do you have any questions about it? What were the things that you liked about it? What are you liking about Optavia so far? You know, these are awesome things, because these are tidbits that you're going to get that maybe you didn't even think of some of the benefits of Optavia. I've learned so much about Optavia just talking to clients and just asking questions. So once they start, you know, we have the day one text, right? We're sending out the text, send them a little motivation, maybe talking about their goal, you know, making it personable. You know, this isn't just ordering someone food and sending them text messages at all. That's just, that sucks. You know, if we were a client and that's how we were coached, you know, in the beginning, that may have been how it was. It may have been how we were coached if it was years ago, but that new structure, it's so built just around community and just loving on each other and really being organic. So the structure's there. And I mean, these texts, you guys can change them, you know, a little bit. If you want to make it sound like you, if you want to take out some words or whatever, I mean, that's totally fine. So then you have your, you know, your 2nd-day text, your 3-day text. Now with these, you know, when clients start on program, I think going over that lean and green step by step is really key. And you're going to hear where they're struggling or where they might be having challenges of things that you need to reiterate with them or kind of go over more than other things, I think. What do you think, Justin?
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, checking in on their water, checking in on the ounces that they're utilizing, making sure they're weighing things out after they're cooked, measuring their vegetables before they're cooked, making sure that as you guys see, if we go off these checklists, I mean, this is literally plug and play, as Dave's kind of explaining over here. And I think, honestly, what's crucial about this is if we kind of half do this, then when they, maybe if they eventually decide to become a coach, this is where it can be detrimental and there's a lot of cleanup there. But the other thing too is even if they don't want to be a coach, this is important, right? So we do the first day text message, then maybe mid-afternoon we double check and make sure that they got the text message. And they're literally updated already to the new life book. I mean, that's how cool our business is they're doing that for us. Then you go into the night call, right? Like Dave said, then you're talking about their lean and green, how much water they drink, what's their energy feel like. Ask them if they have any stomach issues, right? Sometimes when people are detoxing and they don't really know you that well, they don't like to talk about the potty talk, right? But ask them because it's crucial. You don't want them to be uncomfortable. This isn't a let's be hangry and let's get into a diet mode where, well, if we just get through this suffering, right? It's not about that. Let's make sure that we're there to cater to them a little bit and see what's going on. So we know it takes about the first 4 days to get into fat burn, right? And these are some things that we really want to make sure that we're utilizing correctly. Because if you get into week 1 and week 2 and we didn't do this, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm still hungry. I still have mild headaches. I still have this. I still have that. Well, that's like a matter of what have we not done? Maybe they're just eyeballing their lean greens. Maybe they didn't go get the weigh scale like one of the text messages shares with them or the night before videos shares with them. So the first 4 days is a verbal conversation. Let's get on the phone with them. Let's find a time to connect. Not everything's perfect. I have a client, just for example, today, her husband's birthday was last night. I shot her the 3rd day text message. She's like, hey, I can't really connect tonight. It's my husband's birthday. We're going out to dinner. So I gave her some ideas for a lean and green through a text message. But then today, I'm going to make sure I follow up in the morning. And then I'm going to follow up in the evening. Say, how did you do last night? How did everything go? And then obviously catch up with that 3rd day into the 4th day text. And then I'll talk to her this evening as well. And then we'll go from there. And then continuing on, you know, you have day 5, day 6, day 7, right? Now, here's a pivotal moment, guys. Here's where the magic can start to happen. We don't know, and I mean we as in all of us, there's something about a third-party edification and a celebration. This is where you're integrating the client in big time. Scheduling a celebration call to clear up what that means is, honestly, we get that that you're celebrating them and you're going to check in with them yourself, just like you did the first 4-day check-in, right? But what we want to make sure that we know is once we do that, we want to schedule a 3-way call with our mentor coach, right? Or if your mentor coach is not available right then and there within the next 48 hours or so, like great example, I reached out to Donald. Jamil's up in Tahoe. So I reached out to Donald to do a celebration call with a client because I need to have that done within the next 48 hours because that's the crucial time of their first week celebration. And then as we talk about our first week celebration, our first month celebration, our second month celebration, because there's things that they're going to say and they're going to share with us and they're going to really open up. And that's a pivotal moment where maybe coaching makes sense for them because they're stressed out at their job and they're not getting enough sleep. Or maybe they need to tweak what they're doing, or you're wondering why they only lost 2 pounds when honestly, right, we say results not typical, but historically, they could lose more than that. So scheduling these calls is really important. 1 per week check-in, really important to do that, guys. Please don't go to text message mode where it's like, oh, I feel confident because I did do the verbal 4-day check-ins, right? And then all of a sudden now it's like, oh, I'll just shoot them a message because I'm here, I'm there, I'm doing whatever, right? this is where we can kind of get lazy because you feel like you're comfortable. And then to be real, like what if a client all of a sudden pushes their order back, or they're not sure they're going to continue and we're lost in that. So we want to make sure that we're on time with them for their reorder too. Get with your mentors if some of these things that Dave was sharing and I'm sharing, you're not sure where these are. But the reorder message, there's a video on how they reorder their food. Don't do it for them. If they're super technology challenged, like I was, that's okay. But work with them on having them do it first, because you want to enable them and not disable them, right? So that's the thing where they're able to do things. It makes your life easier. They need to have a little bit of skin in the game and do those things. So there's a video on how to do that, right? They get a 4 to 7 day email. You get a 4 to 7 day email as well. Make sure that you're talking to them in between these week check-ins about that stuff happening to make sure it really happens. So transition's really important too. I always like to celebrate people on transition and really make sure that they're understanding what they're doing. Now, there's different variations of transition depending on how much weight you need to lose. And then also we're learning with the new life book, it might be a little bit different on the chapters we're going to be supporting them on and how that works. The new thing too on here is make sure, I just remembered because it's newer, make sure that they have their app. You know, I utilize my app now. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they added in a step tracker too now. That's kind of cool, right? Everybody's buying these $300 Fitbits. We get a free app that tracks your steps. I think yesterday, I logged in at like mid-afternoon and just clicked it. It was at like 3,000 steps. And then last night it was at like 8,000. So it's kind of cool how that does that. So make sure they have that text message, that app with them. So when a client's interested in coaching, the reason we do these three-way calls is because clients are going to start to give you signals where we know coaching makes sense for them. I feel like everybody in my heart should be a coach of some sort, whether it's to pay for their food, whether it's part of the community, whether it's to support them for accountability, right? Maybe 2 or 3 clients is a make or break for them to make sure they're drinking their water every day, make sure they're eating every 2 to 3 hours. So if they're interested in coaching, and we've done all of this correctly, guys, because this is the scary part, just being real. When they get to this point right here, and you send them that trilogy video, this is where we want to hope we did all these other steps with them correctly. Because when they come on and they're like, well, I don't remember the first 4-day check-in. I don't remember the first 8-day text message series. I don't remember doing a night before call. Now you have a business where all these coaches are just text message. And now you have a coach that's saying, I don't get why Susie's fallen off on week 2. I don't get why Tony pushed his order back and he's only on day 3. I don't get why. So these are all crucial things. From where we start to where we finish really speaks. So this is where the magic happens too. Send them the trilogy video. Get them on a call with your mentor coach within the next 48 hours. You know, schedule time. Let's look into exploring it. And continue to follow up and answer questions with them. So I'm going to unshare my screen real quick. So these are important things, guys. I think one of the biggest things about this is really going through that checklist. If you guys don't know where that checklist is, it is in Growing to Senior Coach in the Files tabs, and it's right underneath Client Checklist and Coach Checklist. And I think one of the most important things is when we start from even saying hello, it's crucial. One of the other things I want to share with you guys too is sometimes you're going to have those credit card throwers, and we're like, oh my God, this person's just ready to go. And what's the first step we skip? We don't do a health assessment. Well, they were just ready to go. Well, do we know why they were ready to go? 2 or 3 weeks from now, they fall off and we don't know why, and their energy's off, and they just had a spur of the moment excitement that they're going to give you this diet, right? And it's not something they were sure about, then they disappear. And so these are crucial things that we need to work with. Make sure we do the health assessment. Go through those questions. Dave and Desiree did an awesome job last week of really going through that. It's a guideline of what that looks like. And then take that checklist that we just shared and make sure you staple it to the back of the health assessment so you know where you're at with those clients. Or you even put it in the front, right? You're kind of done with the health assessment at that point. Even stapled to the front so you know where you're at with these clients. If you haven't had a chance to get the 3rd day call in, like I said, I follow up with them in the morning time on day 4, right? And then I follow up with them on day 4 in the afternoon, just like I would any other time. And sometimes it's not going to be perfect. We know that, right? But the idea is get them in a systematic thing. Make sure they know about the Wednesday calls. How many of us just raise your hand? That's fine. How many of us make sure that our clients know about the calls on Wednesday nights, and we remind them about a half hour before, right? Or tag them on the post in Journey to Health. Those are key things. Another reason is they talk about the business. They talk about what makes sense for people. It's going to take layers of layers of layers of people to see what's beneficial for this for us. And if we really start to realize that the full package to this, the full success to this is coaching, whether it's on a low scale or a high scale, whether they want to quit their job, go all in and travel the world with their family, or they, like I said, they want to just pay for their food or maybe be part of an awesome community. I think we're kind of an awesome community, right? That's the thing that's important to this. So it's just a matter of making sure they're on these Wednesday calls, making sure they're posting in their client group. You know, sometimes we want to get into I want to shout out my clients, right? I want to shout out so-and-so, or I want to shout out Susie. She just rocked this. Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, I'm giving you examples here. Well, she's just super introverted, or she's super quiet. Well, guess what? If they don't tell anybody about what they're doing, if they fail, it's not a big deal, right? So we don't want to hinder them from learning things. We don't want to hinder them from growing. So what I would suggest is say, hey, I know you're nervous about it, but honestly, you could go inspire somebody. And I would love for you to go post your first week success in Journey to Health. It's a private page. We talked about that before. Everybody in there is either thinking about program or on program and what makes sense for you. So can you please just go in there and post your stuff? The other thing too is if you kind of come at it with, you don't have an issue with it, they don't have an issue with it. Even if maybe before they did, they were going to have an issue with it, right? So if it's kind of maybe you think about, please, whatever, just say, hey, this is amazing. I'd love for you to go post in there. Would you please do that for somebody else? Maybe inspire somebody, right? And then move forward from there. So these are important things. Does this all make sense to you guys? Does everybody know where the files tabs is? Because I know when I started this, I was like, I don't even know how to use Facebook half the time. Everybody knows where the files tabs are in Growing to Senior Coach? We're good? Okay, cool. So awesome. So once they've become fully integrated, guys, there's also some text messages. I don't know if you guys noticed on your thread. And if you guys don't know what that is, there's text messages, obviously, that the company sends. And then there's also text messages that we send. And sometimes they're duplicated. But that's okay. Because a lot of times they're not going to see them when they come through an automated thing. But we want to make sure that we know we're sending them. We know that they're getting them. It doesn't matter. And then also after your week 1 celebration, if you guys notice, there's week 2 text messages, there's week 3, there's week 4, right? There's week 5, and they're layering the business opportunity, right? And they're trying to allow them to understand why coaching makes sense for them. And we're not trying to get anybody. I took me 7 months to show up, right? And I wasn't even really on Facebook. Honestly, don't really know even how that worked out because I wasn't watching Jamil, right? But I was in tune with what Jenny was doing and talking to him all the time. And he was following up. He was good at following up. And that's what makes sense. So does anybody, I want to open this up a little bit. Does anybody have any questions about this? And please do yourselves a favor. No question is a dumb question. We're all family here. And I guarantee you, if somebody was going to ask it and they're nervous to ask it and you went and did it, you probably helped them out too. So does anybody have any questions about client support or what that looks like? Or any struggles with client support? Does everybody want to hop off? Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so I have a question, and it's regarding our guide. And I have a client that's on day 3, and she's kind of hung up on the healthy fat of the margarine. And I keep on trying to say, use your avocado, use your other things. If you don't want to use margarine, don't use margarine, Because of that mindset of margarine's not the healthy thing, but yet it's in our guide. So it's kind of like tripping her up kind of mentally. It's like, why are we having margarine in here? So I was wondering how to, I was trying to redirect her to other healthier fats that she felt, that there's lots of choices.
Right. No, I think how you're redirecting her is perfect. And it's going to take some time for her to understand. she might be a type A personality, right? And that's just kind of how she's trying to cope with what's going on. But it's honestly, it's like people go to different restaurants and they don't like everything on the menu, but you're not going to not go to the restaurant, right? Because everything that's on the menu is exciting for you, or you believe in what it is. So I think, like you said, just redirecting her with different ideas and working with her on that stuff too. Honestly, you know what's crazy? And I wish I had the answer, because when we were in Thousand Oaks, California, I think Joy and Desiree and all of us went out there. Dr. A actually talked about why that was an okay healthy fat directly, because somebody was having an issue with it, and I can't remember right now. But if I remember, I'll definitely message you about it.
Thank you.
But great question. Yeah, I mean, redirecting them, honestly, like sometimes if people, like even when you start out chatting with somebody, right, and they ask you, well, send me the information, what you can do is you divert the question. Hey, you know, that's awesome. I'd love to get on a call with you, right? So how you're doing it, rediverting them to different healthy fats and things like that is beautiful. I think that's all we can do, because sometimes they don't want to see what our answer is, or they don't like our answer. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes. You know what I mean?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anybody else have any questions? Dave, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, like change is scary for a lot of people. You know, even like when I started 34 years of bad habits and all of a sudden trying to change it. I mean, I was desperate. I was ready for change. I needed to do something. So for me, it was like, just do it, you know, but a lot of habits came up that I had were bad. And right there, that's a scary thing when you realize something you've been doing for so long, that's so normal to you, was actually so detrimental to your health. And that's a big thing for some clients. So I just really want a really good way to kind of take the conversations with clients is look at this. Is this the problem, or is this just a symptom of another problem? And 9 times out of 10, it's just a symptom of something else. And then when you get to that problem, like with her with the margin, okay, but why is that coming up for her? You know, like Justin was saying, some people get hung up on little things, or they look for that one little, you know, like excuse, like palm oil or Parmesan cheese puffs are stopping me from losing weight, you know, whatever it is. A lot of these things are just symptoms of different problems when clients are coming to us.
Yeah. And we could definitely find those out in the health assessment too sometimes, you know. So cool, guys. So I think, no, sorry. Does anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Beverly.
Okay, well, just I kind of had something to say on what David just said. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, like David said, I think she's kind of looking for a reason to like say, okay, well, something's wrong with this program if you're saying I can use margarine. But what I usually tell people is everybody's in a different place. And so some people, it takes them longer to get to the healthier foods than others. So we allow for people to have small steps. So, you know, instead of butter, we're saying, okay, let's do a little bit of margarine, but eventually let's get rid of margarine because we know it's not healthy. But her friend is already in that place of knowing that margarine's not healthy, right? So what I would do is I would probably congratulate her for knowing, like, okay, well, you're so much healthier than everybody else because you know margarine's not healthy, right? But we put that in there for the people who aren't quite there yet. And so they need a little something, something, right? But I think that she's actually, you know, she may keep an eye on her because she might be looking for a reason to stop program. Like she's looking for little things that are wrong with it. And so that might be her way of like not, you know, like getting off program possibly. So I'm not saying she will.
Trying to find the exit to the freeway.
Yeah, I'm not saying she will, but I'm just saying they do that because when it's hard, they want to find a reason to quit, right? And for her, it could be margarine. You know, just that little like, well, that's not healthy. So anyway, that's all I had to say.
No. So guys, I think one of the biggest things is making sure that we're supporting our clients, we're following up with them, we're doing these three-way calls. You know, another thing too is, I don't know if you guys understand the magic of three-way calls, but even if you have a struggling client, even if you guys are newer coaches, right? A lot of you guys are going to be doing these startup calls, like the night before call with your mentor coach, right? Find a time that all three of you, it makes sense for you guys to do the call together. Some of you guys are seasoned coaches. You're going to do those on your own. You know, make sure they're understanding pages 18. Make sure they're understanding pages 19. Taking those few extra minutes to go through that stuff with them. Make sure that they really understand what they're starting out with. Like David said, ask the questions about the video to make sure that they've read it or they've done it. And honestly, I'll be really honest with you guys. I don't hop on with them until they've watched it. And I'll say, hey, you know, real quick, did you have a chance to watch? No, I just got off work, but I'll watch it in a few minutes. Okay, watch it and let me know. Here's another thing too. Do yourselves a favor. When we're scheduling calls with these people, please make sure they're not in transit. Please make sure they're not distracted. So if you have a client that's like, oh my God, I just can't get them on, and they're on the way home from work, they're not going to be engaged. They're not going to open up. Hopefully they're paying attention to where they're driving, right? You want to have the emotions there, the attachment there, because you want to build that relationship with them. So when we're doing these night before calls, 90% of the time too, if they're driving home, they don't even have the box in front of them, right? So make sure we're asking these questions so you as a coach are valuing your time as well. This is a business, right? Being humble at the same time, but this is a business. So make sure that these guys are working with their box. They have it. They didn't just text you, hey, got my box today. Say, okay, we're going to go over the startup, but then they're calling you on their way home because 4 or 5 o'clock makes sense, or they just get off. Make sure they have their box in front of them. Make sure they've gone over their text messages. I literally had somebody that was a brand new client was referred to me. He already ordered his food from his buddy, which you know, we obviously have those clients that just do that stuff, and that's fine. But I asked him to go through all 5 text messages from when he ordered his food. Your food's on its way. Let's fill out all this information. Then here's the night before startup, and then let's hop on a call. And I had him make sure he went through all of those. And it's posturing, right? You call the person up. You say, okay, hey, I'm going to send you a few things over. Honestly, this is where we need to play catch up a little bit. Normally you get this over a week span, but I really need you to go through this stuff, and then let's hop on a call afterwards. So make sure that they're doing that stuff, because it takes time for you guys to be easier. And then it also helps you move them forward with the proper steps. Because once again, if they become a coach and we shortchange this, they will not do it in their business. And I'll be really honest with you. So moving this forward to now becoming a coach, what does that look like, and how people are going to do this? Do we all really understand on here? I know some of us are newer, and raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're new on here, like within like the last 2-3 months. We got Krista, Ellen, okay, a couple others. Okay, do we all understand that this is not a weight loss company? Hopefully, wink at me, smile, say hi. I know it's only 6:30 on a Saturday, but we're making this work. Some of you East Coasters are lucky. But the point is, though, is really understanding this program and what it means. You know, we want to make sure that when we're doing these calls with these clients, we're getting these little nuggets, and we're taking notes of why they're stressed out, why they can't get sleep, why they can't, you know, follow the program eating every 2 to 3 hours, and start to learn things that would make sense for them. You know, maybe a mom of 4 kids loves her job, loves her career, but it would be something for her to maybe start coaching to pay for her food and pay for maybe a service to come clean her house more often, because she doesn't have the finances are just right there. And that allows her more free time with her kids, or maybe allows her to have somebody to get date nights out and start doing other things, and slowly start talking to them about these things and layer it into coaching. And what does coaching look like for you, and allowing the time freedom for you. And some people make great money, but they have no time, right? So these are why, as you're doing these first week celebration calls, these first month celebration calls, the second month celebration calls, things start to magically unfold, right? If we follow this process. The thing is we don't want to be the Lone Ranger and say, oh, well, I'm doing the celebration calls with my clients. We're doing great. It's not about us. It's about the layering tool and the systematic function of what that looks like. The 3-way calls are magical, because then you'll start to notice, oh my God, this person's interested in coaching. They never mentioned that to me. It's the magic of the 3-way call, right? They're going to share with you ideas and tips and things that make sense for them constantly over and over again. And sometimes as a newer coach, we don't see that. So having our business coach on and doing those celebration calls, asking the right questions while you're learning to ask the right questions, that's where all this stuff kind of comes into play. And then now you're potentially starting to share this, and then you bring on a coach, right? And so what does that look like? Bringing on a coach is really wanting to understand the why before the how. Those are important things. And, you know, I wasn't going to do this on the blended ED part of this boot camp, but the important thing about it is if we're going blended ED, we're bringing on coaches, right? And we're taking a client to a coach. So learning how to support that coach is finding out really what they want. I did a call yesterday with a lady. I don't even know her. I don't even know her. She signed up as a coach underneath another coach. The other coach, which I love about this business, was in a place where she didn't have really good service. So she said, hey, Lisa just signed up as a coach. She wants to get started. She wants to help her dad. And I need to, I just don't have any service. Can you help her? Of course. That's what I love about our family. We can always help and work around that like that. So I started asking her questions. You know, what would be cool for you to be able to do to be able to coach? Like, why do you want to coach? Well, my dad wants to start, and I just feel like, you know, he'd probably do it if I would do it. He signed up for a different program, and I want him to do this program. I believe in it. I'm down 28 pounds. I'm really excited, and that's what I want to do. And then we started talking. What made sense? What made sense for her? The magic of things that are going to allow her to transform her life. The things that are going to help her be more successful in her own health journey, right? And then so on and so forth. Maybe having, like I said, somebody do their laundry. Maybe somebody take care of their house. I know for us, having a cleaner come to the house once a week is awesome for Jenny, right? It allows her more time with the kids. We do Instacart now. You're able to do all these small things that allows you to have maybe date nights. You can pay for a little thing, or maybe you want to quit your job. But these are things that we want to start asking them. What does that look like? And move that forward into, like we said, when we do the health assessment, we want to have the emotions attached to the client side, right? When we do the coach assessment, there's no really assessment, but when you start magically dreaming with these people and finding out what they want, finding out what's going to make sense for them, why that $1,000 is magical. Sometimes we get on a call and we're like, oh my God, this person wants to coach. Oh my God, you could totally and do all this stuff. And then what happens in 3 or 4 weeks? That steam's gone. 12 people told them no, and 1 person told them yes. Coaching isn't really for me. Well, the magic is well, what does that $1,000 do for you? Oh my God, if I had $1,000, I could pay down my credit card debt. I could afford a better car. I could be able to take my kids and put them in private school. I could be able to take time for myself on a Saturday or Sunday and pay to go to the movies and have somebody watch my kids for a couple hours for single parents. Or maybe we have date night with the family, or maybe we're able to pay our bills and keep up with just our bills for now, right? Okay, great. So guess what? When 12 people tell you no and only 1 person tells you yes, let's talk about that $1,000. What's that going to do for you? How's that going to help you? How has this program impacted you? Oh my God, well, I've lost 60 pounds. Well, how do you feel? I feel amazing. Okay, so who else can we help do that? Right? And then you move on to working with them on as far as their goals. So, okay, so you're down 60 pounds and we're working on getting you $1,000 a month. And now we're making that $1,000 a month. What's next? Here's where growth happens. What's next? Well, oh my God, if I was able to make $3,000 a month, that would really allow us to put a savings away. That would allow for our kids. We have 2 kids in college. All of a sudden things open up, right? You want to get these small scale wins, just like that first week weigh-in. Some people are doubtful, right? Well, I've tried everything. How many times have we heard that? And then you get to that first week and they're down 7 pounds, 3 inches, energy's through the roof. They're like, oh my God, I don't even know what this is. Well, it's the same thing with getting them to that $1,000. Hey, we're making the $1,000 a month now. What does that look like? How does that feel? Oh my God, this is awesome. Okay, what would be cool for you next? $3,000. Okay, now we're going to get to that. What is that going to allow you to do? Right? So these are things that we want to massage in there, but it all starts with what me and Dave talked about today. Very important to please go through the checklist. Do yourselves a favor. Do the clients a favor. Don't do them a disservice by skipping those text messages. Making sure that we're starting them out with the first 5 text messages while they're waiting for their program. Making sure that they go into the Facebook page and we celebrate them with a picture, right? The thing with that is we want to make sure that we're awakening them to, if they're a very private person and it's like, well, they don't want to be in the Facebook group, so I just didn't put them in there. Are we doing them a disservice? Are we setting them up for, if they do want to back out of this program or feel like they're going to fail. They don't have any accountability, right? So making sure we put them in the group, put them in there with the picture, right? We want to make sure that they're posting in there with their first week weigh-in. And then what's that going to do when they become a coach? They're going to do that with their clients. Make sure we're doing the three-way celebration calls. Why? Because when they become a coach, they're going to be doing that. And then so on and so forth. So I'm really excited. Today was a shorter call. I wanted to make sure that we really kind of went through that. I hope this stuff was helpful. We have the FIBC call coming up next, and I'm actually on that too. So I needed to give myself a little bit of time to get on there. I'm just being open with you guys because we are family. But does anybody have any final questions about supporting clients, where to find that stuff, what it looks like to support a coach? Anything right now before I hop off? We're good. Is everybody kind of awake, hopefully? I didn't even go through half my coffee, and I'm talking like a jabbering rabbit, I guess. But Dave, let's give Dave a round of applause too. He did an awesome job, I think, explaining half the checklist, which was awesome. Guys, please do yourselves a favor. Make sure that you guys are going through the checklist. Make sure that we're following this to a T. Work with your mentors on that stuff. Please, please, please. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, work with your mentors on the three-way calls. Those are magic. If I didn't say anything today about anything, the three-way calls are magical. This is how we go from a senior coach to bringing on business partners, because we really start to integrate those clients in. You're actually setting them up for success versus failure. Dave, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's awesome, man. I love it.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a blessed Saturday. Thanks so much for hopping on. Give yourselves a round of applause too. Honestly, 6 a.m. You guys are up. You're at them. You're going. Poor Stacy's got like 3 kids already running around the house. But you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? So let's go support those clients, and then let's go look for some amazing business partners as well. Happy Saturday. And Donald, I think you guys are probably going golfing. But have a good day, guys. We'll talk to you soon.